There we go. Hello, and welcome to YWCA's Facebook Live Connect, Heal, Learn speaker series. I'm Laura Gomez-Horton, Clinical Director of YWCA Greater Austin. For those of you who are unfamiliar, YWCA provides individual and group services, life skills classes, school-based consultation, training, and advocacy. Our mission is to eliminate racism, empower women, stand up for social justice, help families, and strengthen communities, which we've been doing in the Central Texas area for over 115 years. We truly stand at the intersection of mental health and social justice. This speaker series focuses on inviting subject matter experts to discuss topics connected to mental wellness and social justice. We are starting the new year and we are constantly hearing about New Year's resolutions. Today's topic is resolution, the good and bad, ugly that comes along with it, where we're going to frankly discuss the phenomenon of setting resolutions and what happens when we do that. Today, we're joined by Eva Escobedo, LPC Supervisor. She is one of our clinical supervisors at YWCA Greater Austin, as well as a private therapist in the community. Welcome, Eva.
Hello.
Hello. So Eva, around this time of year, obviously, we've talked about it before, we tend to see and hear a lot of people talking about New Year resolutions and goal setting for the new year. Why do you think our society is so set on resolutions and goal setting, and where does it even come from?
Sure. So I think that in general, our culture is so oriented towards to point out our deficits, and probably it has deep economic reasons behind that. So if we are not the whole concept of being lazy, the concept of being not pretty enough, not fancy enough, not educated enough, all of it makes us, is a motivation to consume based on feelings of shame and inadequacy. And so a lot of our goals, if you look at them for the new year, are shame-based. Oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds because I'm not fit enough, or I'm going to read more books because I'm not smart enough or educated enough. I'm going to work out more. That's when I hear every single day from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I should have these habits. And the reality is that there's a reason why we haven't done that, right? And it matters to look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you mean, like there's a reason that we haven't done it? Like there's a reason why we haven't started certain things
right.
in our life?
And it's right, and it's not because we're not. So the implication of the New Year resolutions is that whatever we haven't done and now are resolute sort of on doing is a question of will and motivation. And it is not.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two words that we really overuse and not understand at all. So we can want to go to the gym. There's a part of us that might want to go to the gym because we might think that it's the healthy thing, blah, blah, blah. However, I don't go because by the time that I get home from work, I'm exhausted. Or because I'm embarrassed to put on leggings because my body doesn't look like the bodies that are advertised in every gym publicity. Or because I'm embarrassed to ask for help and I don't really know what to do. Or I don't have I'm not in good physical shape and it hurts or it feels really uncomfortable. Because I didn't grow up doing that and I don't really know how, and it's not something that's a resource for me, right? Mm-hmm. So intellectually, we have this marketing idea of I should, yeah, but that doesn't match the reality, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what does that do to people, to especially like people that feel like, okay, I do have to keep up and follow through and make these resolutions? What does that do to them?
So I think that the big problem with resolutions, because they are based on shame. So I already feel horrible that I'm not doing that. Now I have this resolution, and now I failed at this resolution. So now I'm lazy, unmotivated, and I don't follow through. So now I have one more layer of negative self-concept to add on to myself, right? And again, there's the internalized idea of I'm not motivated enough. There must be something wrong with my motivation. And we know with all sorts of things that motivation has nothing to do with it. And it's such a capitalist concept, right? And it's so inherent to the culture of the United States. You can do anything that you want if you put your mind to it. It's a question of putting your mind to it. Well, it's actually not true. I cannot be a millionaire by tomorrow, or even day after tomorrow, or even if I had set out to do that. The opportunities are not necessarily there. There are all sorts of social factors that don't allow for that.
Yeah. I heard you mention the other day that, like goal setting and long-term, especially goal setting is more comes from a place of privilege.
Absolutely. And we even measure class by goal setting, actually.
What do you mean?
So setting goals is ascribed to people who have money, who have a higher education, and again, the criticism is set for people who are underprivileged as not being motivated. Oh, they're not even setting any goals, right? They just live in the moment. Well, when your basic needs in the moment are not met, and I don't mean just financial needs, but social needs in terms of rest, of connection, of community. How do you set
Safety also?
Safety, right? It's like, okay, so what do I want to do in 5 years? What is my career plan in 5 years? I don't know. I have to figure out how not to get my electricity disconnected this month. I need to figure out how to put food on the table. I need to figure out how to sleep more than 4 hours a night. So there's again this shame, the shaming of people who don't set goals. But there's also an insidious side to people who do set goals. Because people who live from goal to goal to goal do not know how to be content. And it's sort of the same thing that happens behind our capitalistic society. It's not that I really want this new iPhone because it's going to do these things for me. But I have it because it's the newer one. And the minute that I bought it, I'm already looking at what is the next one. What is the next one that is going to come out? And it doesn't matter that mine still works and is still great. There's the push to want and get the next one. And that is true of the house that we have, of the car that we drive, of what we eat, how we exercise, everything. It permeates all aspects of our life. And it's a permanent discontent, right? So there's discontent or the malaise that comes with, okay, I'm uncomfortable with where I am, and that's why I'm striving to reach this goal. Then I reach the goal that lasts exactly 30 seconds. And then there's okay, and so now what? So there's a purposelessness. Made it up.
We often create words around here anyway. So, but yeah. So, I mean, it seems like for some people, the goal setting is helpful, where you can say, okay, this to be able to make plans. And some people are set, their brains are wired that way, where they need to set, aim and strive for certain things. But like you're saying, there's this other aspect of where it might become a negative thing where people are discontent. Once they reach that goal, they need to set something else, and they're just never comfortable being with what they have and where they're at.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me speak to that also. So for some people, and actually maybe for everybody, we even people who we think don't set goals, do set goals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the goal is I'm going to pay my electricity. The goal is I'm going to take care of my children. The goal is I'm going to go to work. The goal is we have goals. Whether we can achieve them or not is a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And very often when we set these New Year's resolutions, we're not looking at what is getting in the way. How can I make this actually possible? Can I make this possible? And ultimately, what will I get if I do that? Because that's also a piece where the piece that is connected to motivation, where that falls apart often is because the goal is not connected to the goal that's underneath that, right? So if I want to lose 10 pounds, I want to lose 10 pounds because I want to be prettier. I want to be more accepted. I want not to have to change all my pants. What is ultimately what I'm going for? And that will connect us to what I want to do with that, right? So if my goal is I want to lose 20 pounds because I want to be super attractive to people out there, right now, maybe when I was 20, that might have been what I would have gone for. Right now, it's like, I really want like the new pair of jeans that I bought to fit. Right. And that's much more tangible. And so we have to really tweak it at that. And then what is the measure of that? So sometimes we create goals that are so abstract that we have no way of knowing if we're meeting it or not. And there's, again, always a sense of not enough and not good enough. Right. But on the bright side, for people for whom it does work, it generally does because it can set some structure. And structure is different than goal, and it's actually different than a resolution, right? So I'm going to go to the gym when I get home, and so that means that I have to plan on throwing my sneakers into the car and packing my water. And so what are the adjustments that I need to make, the structure again, in order for that to be possible? That works. When it's supposed to shape what it is that I need to do, to organize our days or our schedules, sure, that's great.
Yeah, so it sounds like in some respects, like you said, the structure, the planning piece, sure. And also acknowledging or understanding the reason and motivation behind the intent to do something. One of the things I was thinking of, and this kind of puts us in this tough little bind sometimes, especially in the work that we do, is that as professionals, social service providers and mental health professionals, we are expected sometimes to help people set goals and to have something achieved at the end of services, which puts us in this mix of we're part of the issue too sometimes, that and having to navigate that on translating it to kind of what you just said. It's not about, I'm gonna feel better after I come and talk to you for 10 sessions, but instead you having to help people redesign that thought.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that as I was listening to you, that always happens. So for a lot of people who are in some sort of like program that is very goal oriented, right? So, I have 3 months of sobriety or whatever, right? I normally don't celebrate that at all. Because then what happens when the person had a really bad day and they had a drink? And I don't even see it as a relapse because that's so failure oriented, right? And so for me, if a person Even if they come in with oh, I want to stop drinking, for example, in my brain, I immediately translate that. So you want to feel regulated enough that maybe you will have greater control over your decision or not to, where it can become actually a decision to drink or not, right? And so for me, the goal is for that person to have enough well-being, for us to have worked enough on the trauma, for us to have worked enough on their sense of connection, on their sense of self-acceptance and acceptance by others. And so as therapists, I think that it's really, really important to understand what is underneath, what is the real goal, because it often we think that it is the behavior that we see. So it is the drinking or the shopping or the whatever it is. And that is not. It is what is driving those behaviors, right? And so that is how almost all goals or New Year resolutions fail. That is how most behaviorally based programs fail. And hopefully the way that we do therapy, at least at the YWCA, is much more trauma informed, is much more humane, and much more informed by actual science.
Yeah, I mean, and that's very helpful when you do have like a therapist that is kind of helping you peel those layers and really get into like, okay, well, my motivation to do something different is this particular reason or for this purpose.
Yeah.
What about, just in general, like people that are just going through life that don't have that therapist, that don't have somebody helping them peel those layers, and they're setting these resolutions, or they're aiming or striving for a different purpose or whatever? What would you recommend, like that how they might be able to do that for themselves? Like what questions can they ask themselves? Like, let's say I have decided, like you said, okay, I'm gonna start eating healthier. What would you recommend for just, where to start?
So I would actually question that completely. So I think that a much better question for the new year is, so what are things that I would like to invite into my life this year, right? I have felt, and so what are the things that have been maybe missing? So I miss spending more time with my friends. Okay, I miss the feeling of the yummy feeling of when I have more protein for breakfast. So it's getting in touch with the things that we're wanting, but not from a place, again, of deficit. So I would like to spend more time with Laura this year than I have in the past few years of the pandemic. I mean, that's actually something that I want to invite into my life. I want to have people over again. I want to visit places again. And so it's not necessarily a goal, it's more an aspiration, it's more an intention, a daydream. Yeah, and it also allows us to take inventory of our lives, which is, I guess, like really like the good way of looking at the new year is to take inventory. What are the things that I'm grateful for? What are the things that that have been given to me? What are the things that I have given to others? What are the things that I might want to give to others and to myself?
Yeah. So I think what the important aspects that you're mentioning is that, if you are setting up things that you're aiming for, inviting that intentionality, understanding the motivations behind it, and also understanding that if those things don't work for you. Like, I don't set goals for the new year because that's just not who I am. That it's okay, that it doesn't mean you're not striving for something. And like you said, the majority of the time, everybody has things they're aiming at on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people
every day
recognizing
every day your goal is to be a supportive boss. Your aim every day is to be a supportive mom. That's already there.
Yeah. Whether we name it or not, it's something
That's right.
that we're just doing.
But we're all going towards something. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess it's helpful to name it. And for others, it's just we're being, and here we are, and it's okay.
Yeah. And sometimes we can reframe it even as, what are your values, right? Instead of what are your goals, what are your values? And also, we forget that a goal is not something that is not here and that we want to invite. It might be to keep something that we have.
Yeah.
It might be to actually appreciate something that we have. Sometimes it is, or often it is about changing our relationship to the things that are present.
Yeah. I think that from what you've said, for me, the most important thing to kind of get across is about understanding that if people are setting those intentions or those goals and they feel like, oh, it's, what are we today? January 13th, and I already messed up, that it's not a mess up, that it's that, that message comes from somewhere else.
Absolutely. I think that's the critical piece. And that's the piece that makes me balk when I hear like goals and chips and all of these things and rewards and punishment. Because if I already failed, then it's gone. Then people don't internalize it as I made a boo-boo, but rather as I'm a failure. There's something wrong with me that I couldn't. And then why even try?
Right.
And that's how we give up. And then it's like, oh, if I already had, and that's behind like a lot of our mentality with addictions, right? And a lot of New Year resolutions have to do with the way that we use or not use things.
Yeah.
And it's all or nothing. Well, that's a very United States way of looking at it. And it doesn't work. And so other countries that, for example, deal with substance use or substance misuse in a very different way don't have the same issues, because it's not, oops, I had wine and now it's a relapse and now I'm a failure, or I had a cigarette and now I'm back to smoking 3 packs a day, or whatever it is, right? There's room for humanity.
Yeah, I like that there's room for humanity. That's a good thing. Okay, were there any other thoughts that you want to share with people that maybe right now may be feeling like, oh man, I already messed up, or I don't do resolutions, so there must be something wrong with me?
No, look at the things that you're already doing, and just reflect what is working in my life, what is not working in my life. How can I make things be more aligned with actually what I do want, not what I think I should want, but what actually the things that I want, right? So again, like resolutions, every time I have done resolutions, when I used to do resolutions, they were around things that I don't care about. I don't care about going to the gym at all. Never will I care. I don't. Exercise is not a value in my life. So it's absurd that we put these things in as a resolution when they have zero value for us. But again, it's who's telling me that I should want that.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Eva, so much. And I would love to continue talking, but yeah, we have We have things to do, yes. So thank you so much for joining me and sharing all your amazing thoughts and the work that you do. I'd like to remind everyone to keep the conversation going. And if you would like to connect for services, contact our main line at 512-326-1222 or visit our website at ywcaAustin.org. We'll see you next time.